All right. Well, welcome everyone. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really important to Picnic Health that we actually engage with the people in the communities that we work in and give folks who are interested in signing up a chance to learn about Picnic Health. So we're very excited to be sharing with you today. Kind of to give you a rundown of how everything's going to go, we'll do some quick introductions. You'll hear from myself about Picnic Health, and then Shelby's going to share about her experience with Picnic Health and HD in general. And then the second half will be a Q&A. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I will introduce myself just very quickly. Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm a community partnerships manager here at Picnic Health, and I am a patient advocate myself and very excited to be working with fabulous change champions like Shelby. And Shelby, if you just want to do a quick introduction, that will be great.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I am the founder of Champions for HD. We are a nonprofit that was founded in 2018 to help families like my own who are suffering from this terrible disease, as well as helping advocate and fund research efforts that are going on to hopefully not only cure this thing, but stop it before the progression manifests. So I'm really excited to be here. And thank you, Brittany, for putting this on.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shelby, for being here as well and agreeing to share your experience. So let's cover who Picnic Health is. Picnic Health was founded in 2014, around the time our CEO, Noga, was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And she was going through the process of seeking multiple opinions and talking to different specialists. And instead of being able to focus on advocating for herself, she was waiting in line, making multiple phone calls, all to get her medical records. And she saw that the system was completely broken and wanted to fix it. And that is how Picnic Health was born. The very first product that we launched with was our digital health timeline. I'll cover that in more detail for you a little bit later, but essentially, it's all of your medical records in one centralized location in an easy to read digital format. And then in 2018, we discovered that our record collection engine and machine learning technology could be utilized to help researchers capture the first view of any condition. So by examining real-world data through collecting and analyzing the medical records of real people, we can find answers that maybe can't be found in clinical trials. And there's important information in each person's unique healthcare journey, and sharing your medical records helps researchers fill in those missing pieces. So that brings us to what Picnic Health actually looks like today. Just to walk you through it, we work with communities to build data sets that accelerate research, and we are very excited to have the opportunity to do this for Huntington's disease. Joining and consenting takes 5 to 10 minutes online, and then Picnic Health will do all of the work for you to collect your medical records. Once we receive your records, we will create your digital health timeline, and you will receive full ownership of your collected medical history. We will take clinically relevant portions of your health history, completely strip it of any personal and identifiable information, and then we'll combine it with other HD patients to create a unique, rich data set, which is then provided to researchers. And you'll receive updates about the research findings as they are published. Medical records contribute to uniquely rich research data. Unlike in clinical trials, which tend to focus on one specific piece of the puzzle, real-world data research is pulling insights from multiple sources. For example, primary care and specialist providers, academic and community, inpatient and outpatient, lab notes, reports, imaging, etc. And we will actually continue to follow that patient journey into the future. All right, so I'm very excited to share the timeline with you, which is one of the benefits you get for joining the study. I just wanted to call out a few questions to see if you all have ever experienced this. Have you ever had difficulty accessing or sharing your medical records between providers? Or have you ever been frustrated at the fact that you have to now reiterate your complete health history when seeing a new provider? Or have you ever struggled to recall important medical information in an emergency situation or seeing a new provider? You're totally not alone. This is the exact reason that we founded Picnic Health. As patients, we understand these frustrations all too well, and the digital timeline was created to help lessen this burden on patients. So I would love to demo the timeline for you. Hopefully everybody can see it. Perfect. So this is what the timeline looks like. It is all of your medical records in chronological order. I just want to call out a few things here. So if you click on one of your lab results and you want to see it charted over time, if you click on it, you will receive a wonderful graph of all of the results over time. And the great thing about this is they don't have to all be in like the same system. Any facility you visit, as long as there is a recordable record for that specific lab, you'll be able to see it in an actual chart or graph. Another thing I want to call out is when we transfer medical records from place to place, as we age, our medical records get quite large. And sometimes new providers just don't have the time to go through everything. But with Picnic Health, they do have the ability to quickly search for what they're looking for. So let's say a provider wanted to only see records that were connected to AFib. They could just type in AFib, and then only those records would show up. They could choose to read the easy to read format, or they could actually download the source record if they needed to. So it saves the provider time and it also saves you time. Just some other things to call out. You can filter by date, visit type, visit details, including medications, facility, doctor, or the date that your records were added. I'll go ahead and go through how you add a specialist. When you first sign up, you're also prompted to add a specialist. Let's go ahead and add a neurologist. So you'll enter in the facility name, and then you'll enter the city and state, and then the provider name. And if you don't know the provider name, you are able to just add it. And that's really all we need from you. If we need any additional information, we will go ahead and reach out to you. Alrighty. And then one of my favorite features about the timeline is the ability to share it. So obviously we talked about being able to share it with your new providers that you're seeing, but you can also share it with your family and friends if there's someone that you want to keep in the loop. Maybe you have an emergency contact person and you want them to have access to all of your medical records. You can go ahead and do that. You just enter in their name, and then it'll generate an email for them. You can fax it. Same thing for family. You can also send a text, like if it's an emergency situation, you need to do that. And the great thing is if you need to pause access or resend the link, you can do so at any time here. So that is a quick demo. I will go ahead and go back to my presentation. Perfect. All right. So why does real-world data research matter for Huntington's disease? That's a great question. We know that HD takes a significant toll on patients and caregivers, and real-world data research can help researchers better understand what the actual needs of the HD community are, and that every patient journey is unique. Real-world data is also critical in filling in the gaps in clinical research and can actually be used to supplement trial data, which can help accelerate getting new treatments to market. And finally, real-world data offers the opportunity for more voices to be included in research. It's easy to participate. You can do it from home. You don't have to travel to a study site or take time off work. And the exclusionary criteria is not lengthy. Both gene positive and symptomatic patients with HD are able to participate. And our hope is that by examining a more representative data set, we will be able to actually represent what HD looks like in the patient population in the real world. So just to go over some of our research principles that we hold near and dear, first and foremost, protect rights and privacy. Everything that we do must go through the Institutional Review Board, or the IRB, to review our studies and make sure everything is great and participants are properly informed. We de-identify data before researchers receive any data. We remove any and all personally identifiable information. And we are committed to the public good, and we only work with partners who are committed to the public good. We also believe strongly in informed consent. So when you sign up for the study, you'll be asked to provide consent. You can withdraw that anytime. If you do decide to withdraw, you will still have access to the medical timeline. We just won't be getting new records for you. And you can re-enroll at any time as well. As I said, privacy and security are our highest priority. We're committed to transparency in these research practices, security for our users, and advancing research for the public good. We use 256-bit military-grade encryption to keep records safe, which is the same security that banks use. We're also HIPAA security rule compliant. We follow the highest standards set by the law. We remove any and all personally identifiable information before sharing with researchers. And as I mentioned before, data is never shared without a patient's explicit permission. So I just wanted to highlight some of our amazing partnerships. There's a familiar one on there, Shelby's Champions for HD. This is a non-exhaustive list of both our advocacy and research partners. We've also recently launched a partnership with HDSA, Help for HD. And I hope this hopes to highlight that we greatly value our non-commercial partnerships and giving back to the communities that we serve. And here's a wonderful testimonial from Shelby. Shelby is one of our change champions. We work with individual advocates as well to help tell their stories and raise awareness in communities about actual real-life patient experiences. So that is enough from me. I'm going to go ahead and let Shelby talk now.
It's been a pleasure to get to work with Brittany. We actually have worked together on and off for, I don't know, I think we were initially introduced about a year ago. And when Brittany moved to PicnicHealth and she told me about their mission and what they were oriented around, I was so excited. So we got together, we started brainstorming, and they were really eager and excited to see if we could actually potentially work with them on Huntington's disease specifically, because at that time, that wasn't one of their focuses. And so after we had many, many sessions, they came back and said, we are going to go through with pursuing Huntington's disease. And, just hearing all the incredible things that Picnic wants to do for our community, and knowing how HD, impacts not only the person who has it and trying to keep track of all of their different medical records. I don't even think I would want to do that. But also for the caregivers, it alleviates a lot of that additional stress and, trying to keep things on track. But the fact that, it's going to open up doors to research just by enrolling and putting in your data. I myself have already done that and participated in that. That's really exciting, just because it's a little tiny way that we can help in furthering Huntington's disease research efforts, and having a place that at any given time we can all have access to see what our treatments look like, or how things have progressed or remain the same. It's really exciting, and I'm excited that Brittany has trusted me in this process and having me along for the ride. So thank you to PicnicHealth and Brittany for working on me with this for, I don't know, maybe like 6 months now. It's been exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Shelby. Obviously, we appreciate all your insights and all the work that you do in the HD community, and we're so blessed to have you as a change champion. I'm always impressed every single time I work with you by how much of a rock star patient advocate you are. Really. Thank
you.
So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to Q&A. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat, or John, if you just want to ask them. Just one question that was brought up. Is there any compensation for participating? I did not actually cover that. There is. You get $200 just for taking the time to enroll and become a part of the community. So bonus. The other question is, how long does it take to get medical records? It usually takes around 3 to 4 weeks. Another question that I've heard frequently is, do you wait to hear back from all the providers before you'll start uploading the records? No, we'll upload them as we get them, but it does take some time to get the records back and then put them through our technology to have it in the digital timeline. So that is a good question. Does the timeline get updated over time? Yes, it does. We will continue to gather new records for you. It's not going to be as instantaneous as some of the other charts that you're utilizing, but every 3 to 4 months, we will go out and get new specialist records. And if we don't get anything, we'll probably reach out to you to make sure that like we have all your providers, you didn't switch. So yes, we do continue to update it, and we will do that as long as the study is going. Any other questions?
So I'm trying to understand, do we sign like a HIPAA waiver or give you consent in some way? How does that process work as you're collecting records?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. So you will go ahead and sign our consent form when you're doing the sign-on process.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then there's a consent to first initially gather the records. And then there's also the consent to participate in the study and share portions of your health history with researchers. So there's multiple forms.
Okay. When a researcher approaches you all, do they have to have specific parameters, or just say, hey, we want everybody's file who has of course, redacting certain information and identifiable marker?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So they generally do have to have like a preconceived idea of what they're looking for, because we will build that data set for them.
Okay.
And we're creating like an actual data set. We're not sending over entire medical records centered around like clinically relevant things for Huntington's disease that they're looking for.
Okay.
So
is there any cost to myself or like Carrie for you to maintain the records? Because obviously you're having to store them on a server and all of that.
yeah, that's another great question. So as long as you are enrolled in the study, there is no cost for the timeline or to maintain the records. If you don't have Huntington's disease or you don't have a positive genetic test and you still want to sign up for PicnicHealth, you can do so. Just be aware that if we don't offer research in that current condition, there will be like a setup fee and then a maintenance fee. But we're hoping to continue to expand and be able to offer this to more patients.
No, I was just thinking for myself as a heart patient, if I could have everything located in one place, because I have multiple cardiologists in West Virginia and Ohio. But I mean, for HD now, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah. And it's just really nice. I know that we all are familiar with that experience of having to go to a new doctor and they're like asking you the same questions of like, what medications have you been on? Did you do this? And what tests have been ran? And it's just nice to be able to pull it up and not have to be like, that sounds familiar. I think this happened.
Yeah. Yep. I went through that when I did my Prevent HD this past week.
Yeah.
There was a long period of just paperwork and medications. It's a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it definitely can be. And I'm sure some people are more organized than myself, but I need PicnicHealth because I am not organized as a human. Binder. Yeah. You are organized.
I can see tabs.
For Carrie, and it's got like printable tabs and like after summary, and because she calls me anal and that sort of stuff, but it helped find some stuff when it came time for the pension disability.
No.
So,
I was going to say, that's a good thing to be anal about. I'd say husband of the year.
oh, thank you. It would be nice though to have a place where a digital copy. So like, let's say her neurologist or somebody's neurologist in another state needs access to their timeline. How does that work rather than just a researcher, but a physician instead?
Yeah, so you would just be able to share the timeline with them. either via email or fax.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you select fax, they're going to get the digital timeline and look at the source records. So it might be a lot, but it might be easier to share the timeline.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions?
You had a lot of great ones, though.
Yeah, John, A++.
Everyone watching is going to be like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or I did think about this guy's on it.
Well, I've been trying to be. I mean, that's part of the whole process. And I can thank Shelby for her great podcast, which you can hear anywhere, Champions for HD. And
Yeah.
Nice plug.
That.
yeah, and getting to attend the HDSA conventions virtually. Yeah. Okay. Can you double back around? How does the compensation package work? Is it a staggered payment or is it a one-time thing? How do you go about the process of obtaining that money?
Yeah, great question. So it is a one-time payment. How it works is we will wait to get your medical records back to verify that you actually do have Huntington's or you're gene positive. And then at that point, we will issue you the compensation. It is a Visa gift card, but you can use that wherever. It's not like one exclusive store. So,
cool.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, or should we get back to our Tuesdays and rocking and rolling?
I think I'm good. I got to prepare for other stuff anyway. As I was telling Shelby before the broadcast. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.